Well, you got to be a little careful about what you see on social media. But a little bit earlier today, Volodymyr Zelenskyy posted on X, "None of us wants an endless war. Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than Ukrainians." Scott Jennings reposted that from CNN saying, "Zelensky's obviously learned a valuable lesson. Never take advice from Chris Murphy, the Democrat from Connecticut, unless you need a clown to make balloon animals at a child's birthday party." That's the problem here. There's not a lot of serious people that go front and center on this debate between Americans over what to do with Ukraine. Support for Ukraine and our endless funding has now reached a minority status. The majority of Americans do not want endless funding for Ukraine. And I wonder about people who says, Russia's the bad guy here. Ukraine's the good guy. They have to win. If they don't win, Europe is next. That's the neocon sort of party line. And I wonder what folks like Brian think winning looks like. Defeating Russia? The United States engaging in World War III with Russia? Is that what people like him want? I always like to turn to smart people at times like these. K.T. McFarland initiated the Trump administration's reassessment of a range of national security issues, beginning with North Korea and China. She served as Deputy National Security Advisor under Michael Flynn for the first 4 months of the Trump administration, and she's one of our favorite guests. We always feel blessed when K.T. McFarland can join us on the Mike Gallagher Show. How you been, K.T.?
I've been great, and what a lovely introduction. It's a great honor and privilege to be with you.
I meant every word of it. We really appreciate your insights so very much. I'm, looking forward to how President Trump will lay all this out. Can I first get your gut reaction to what happened in the White House the other day when Zelenskyy appeared in the Oval Office? What were your thoughts about the way that unfolded, K.T.?
Well, I don't think it was planned. I think it was President Zelenskyy seemed to think he could retrade that deal for the third time. Remember, this was the third time he basically turned that deal down. He turned it down 2 weeks before when the Treasury Secretary had an agreed document that he went to Kyiv to sign, and then at the last minute, Zelenskyy said, "No, I don't think I want to sign it." And then a week later, Marco Rubio went to Munich for the Munich Security Conference. And again, by prior agreement, a document about the rare earth minerals development. And Zelenskyy said, "No, I don't think I want to sign it." So I think when he went to the White House, he really thought he had President Trump by the tail. I think he totally miscalculated. The words to look for, no matter how this conversation goes forward, are security guarantees.
Right.
Now, Zelenskyy says we have to have security guarantees from America before we have a minerals deal, before we have a ceasefire, before we have a peace agreement. And what he means by that is American boots on the ground. In other words, we're not going to let him be part of NATO, but he's going to kind of sneak a backdoor version of NATO in by insisting that Americans have to guarantee any security agreement. And that's when President Trump hit the roof, because he said, "No, we're not going to do this. You just want to stop. You want a forever war. You don't want to have a peace agreement. You don't want to go to the negotiating table."
And you could see President Trump's temper rising in that meeting. You could watch his body language. I mean, and you're going to go into the Oval Office like a petulant child, practically, if you're Zelenskyy, and start to browbeat J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. That's not going to go well. It just isn't. And for people who watch the whole thing, because, we saw the 30-second, 60-second, 2-minute sound bites on the evening news, but if you watch the whole meeting, people walked away from that saying, wait a minute, that wasn't Trump or Vance's fault. Zelenskyy,
right.
You say it wasn't planned, but didn't Zelenskyy go in with an agenda? Do you buy the theory, K.T. McFarland, that folks like Susan Rice and Antony Blinken were really behind Zelensky's public performance?
100%.
Yep.
It's that same group of people that have been in the Obama administration and then in the Biden administration, and they were the ones that discouraged Zelenskyy from going to the negotiating table a year into the Ukraine war. They're the ones who said, quote, "Whatever it takes, as long as it takes." Mike, I went to Eastern European countries last spring and summer and right before the election to try to explain to some of the government leaders, this is what America First means. This is what it means for you. And every place I went, they kept saying, well, we think that America is going to give Ukraine whatever it takes as long as it takes. And I said, no, that's, new sheriff in town if President Trump wins. The United States will push everybody to the negotiating table, end the war, and then the advantage to Ukraine is once the war is over, the United States, everybody will invest hundreds of billions of dollars into Ukraine, joint venture deals. And then when President Trump, I think, brilliantly came up with this idea of having America help develop Ukraine's rare earth minerals. We don't have any. Russia Russia has some. Ukraine has a lot. China has a lot. We don't have any. So it would have been good for us. It would have been great for Ukraine because it would have been an economic boost to them. And frankly, it would have guaranteed their security. Because if the United States is going to put thousands of American engineers and miners and project managers in eastern Ukraine, where the rare earth minerals are, do you really think that a president of the United States is going to walk away from maybe $1 trillion American investment? No. And do you really think that Vladimir Putin is going to be dumb enough to kill thousands of Americans on his way to Kyiv? No. So if Donald Trump had figured out an economic way, a trade way, a business way to give Ukraine what it wants and needs, which is a security guarantee, not boots on the ground, not another war, but get out of the war and have an economic relationship with Ukraine.
If we had an honest mainstream media, KT, there would be a real true analysis that says just what you says. The conclusion is this really is brilliant. The mineral rights strategy is a brilliant one. And the media is so invested, in tearing Trump down, they never give him the benefit of the doubt. And K.T. McFarland, they never learn. They never do.
They never listen. They never learn. They never listen. It's a circular argument they make. And Zelenskyy, the Democrats, mainstream media, they all make the same argument. Putin is a bad guy. We can't trust him in a negotiation. Therefore, don't negotiate because we can't trust him to carry out a negotiation. Okay, we get that. But you should at least negotiate. And then when President Trump came up again with an elegant solution that plays to everyone's strengths, they wouldn't take it. I mean, it was like, take the win, guys. This would have been really great. And now what do you have? You have a relationship which is disintegrating by the moment. Ukraine can't survive for more than a couple of weeks or months without American assistance. Do you know that your tax dollars, you know what's going to pay for not just weapons to fight in the Ukraine war, but your tax dollars are going to pay for the salaries of the Ukraine civil servants.
I know.
The salaries and retirement and health care plans
Pensions,
for Ukraine civil servants.
Healthcare benefits. It's insane.
Yeah.
This is why any day I get a chance to visit with K.T. McFarland, I consider it a good day. Keep fighting the good fight. Come by and visit with us again. Thanks, K.T.
Shall do. Thank
Great
you.
having you. Appreciate her so very much. She's right. I mean, and I always appreciate an honest analysis. Whatever you think of Donald Trump, you're going to try to negotiate against him. This is in his wheelhouse. This is what he's good at. This is what he's great at.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.